So, hello, everyone. I want to thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited about this Ask Me Anything session because we really wanted to give you an opportunity to ask questions from a real practicing wisdom coach. So you see and can see what it's like, actually doing this work. So, my name's Karen Robertson. I'm a practicing certified wisdom coach. I'm also part of the Adventures in Wisdom team. So I serve as Senior Director of Coach Success. So that means that I work with wisdom coaches around the world, helping them to be successful in both the coaching kids side of the business, but also in finding clients and on the business side as well. Now, I'm also the twin sister of our founder and CEO, Renee Thornborough. So if you think I look familiar and think, oh, what's with the name thing? That's why. And in my role at Adventures in Wisdom, I'm so lucky with what I do, but I wanted to also give you a little bit of my backstory in just a minute so that you understand and have some context on where I'm coming from as the wisdom coach, because that's the hat that I'm wearing today. So this is very much going to be an open forum where you can ask me anything about what it's like to be a wisdom coach or the business side, either one. We'll cover everything. I really want to share my real world experience, like what it's like to coach kids, what I've learned from building my own practice and that sort of thing. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time walking through like the details of the offer itself, the curriculum, the training, the resources, and all that, because we have a few videos about that, and we can share a link about that for you if you haven't seen it. But some of you will have already seen that video. So one of the things I wanted to say as well is that with the questions, we asked people, or we gave people the opportunity to send questions in prior. So I've got a lot of questions already that people have sent in. So what we'll do is for the people here live, we'll ask you to just raise your electronic hand and you can ask your question that way. And then I will alternate because I've got the other questions up here. So I'll kind of go back and forth because we've chosen and ordered the questions in an order that will help be, of most use generally for everybody. So that's what the plan is for today. Now, are there any burning questions? Is everyone hearing all okay and everything before I start talking about my own experience so you have some context? Just raise your hand if you have anything burning that we knew. Nope. Looks like everybody's okay. All right, good. So let me go back and I'm just going to walk you through what my experience has been. So I joined Adventures in Wisdom in February 2021 in a marketing role. And just for context for that, Adventures in Wisdom has been certifying coaches for since 2013. So I kind of arrived to the party a bit late. Renee's been doing this for a really long time. Now, one of the first things I did in my marketing role was I interviewed wisdom coaches from around the world about their experience. And it just blew me away because what I saw was people who absolutely love their life, love what they were doing, and getting incredible results with kids. And so most of the videos, testimonial videos, and stories, success stories that are in video format that you see with wisdom coaches are from the interviews that I did. But it inspired me so much that I decided to get certified myself. And that was never part of the plan because I had no professional training at all working with kids. I do have two sons. They're now in their late 20s. I can't believe that, but they are. And about 15 years ago, I was a volunteer Cub Scout leader for a few years. But really, that's not my professional background. But these wisdom coaches really inspired me. So I got certified. And then my very first child that I coached was a neighbor's child. She was just shy of 6 years old. And what happened was I was just at a street party talking with my neighbor, and she was sharing how her child had so much anxiety that she couldn't go up and get her diploma from graduating preschool. And this mother was really worried about how her daughter was going to start school in a few weeks' time because she's like, she'd had a complete meltdown. And this neighbor of mine is actually a teacher. So she's got a lot of experience working with kids, but her own daughter was struggling a lot with anxiety. And I told her, well, I've just been certified as a mindset coach for kids, as a wisdom coach, and I've got this confident kids coaching package. Would you like to give it a try? And she said yes. She was really enthusiastic. So I plan to do these 5 coaching sessions with this little girl. And so I was a little bit nervous beforehand because I've never done it before, but I just followed the story coaching process and the curriculum. Because one of the things that Adventures in Wisdom trains our coaches on is that the main thing that we are doing is the curriculum and the story coaching process does the work. We're there to provide a safe space for the child to deliver that curriculum, to kind of follow that little process. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to hold that space. That's what I'm going to do. And it was phenomenal because it worked for me beautifully. And what happened was that at the end of the second session that we had together, this little girl had a complete meltdown at swimming lessons earlier in the day, and her mother shared that with me at the end of the second session. So I knew that we were going to talk about neural pathways in the third session. So I gave her a sneak peek. I said, hey, I want to give you a little sneak peek about what you're going to learn. And I explained to her about when we have these things in our mind called pathways. I didn't even call them neural pathways because of her young age. I said we have these little pathways in our brain where if we've never done something before, then our body doesn't have a pathway. It doesn't know how to think about it. So we can feel really nervous and anxious. But once we've done something, we start building, we start having pathways. So we feel more confident. And there are ways that we can build pathways before we even do something. But I told her, I said, you've already been to swimming lessons. You know how to swim. You've been to swimming lessons. You've now seen the other kids. You've got all these really strong pathways in your mind for swimming lessons. So tomorrow when you go to swimming lessons, you're going to do great. And I gave her a little sparkly wand that I had with me. And I said, just touch your mind and remember, I've got my pathways. And so the next day she went to swimming lessons and her mom sent me this picture of her with this giant smile on her face, holding her sparkly wand. And she had done everything. And she was so proud. And her mom was so excited after the screaming and yelling from the day before. And it was like, wow, this is so cool. And the long story short is this little girl, after 5 sessions, not only overcame that worry, she swam in the ocean, which was one of the goals that we set for her confidence program. And that meant that her whole family could play in the ocean together. And so that was a really neat thing. And she started school with confidence as well. And it's just been fantastic for her. And that's just the very first client that I coached. I was like, wow, I can really do this because the curriculum and the mindset skills and the stories really worked for this little girl. And I created that safe space. So I wanted to share just what that was like because it was just an amazing experience to be able to help her. So I just want to share a little bit about what my practice looks like now. It's been 3.5 years since I coached that first little girl. And it was an interesting one getting started because my kids are grown, as I mentioned. So I didn't have a natural pool of parents with school age kids anymore. I used to have all these connections with Cubs and school. I didn't have that anymore. And so one of the things that we help our wisdom coaches understand is that coaching is a know, like, and trust business. So when it comes to people's children, they either want to know, like, and trust you, or they want to know, like, and trust someone who knows, likes, and trusts you. And so that's why leveraging your personal network is the best way to grow your business. And that's what I did. I used the resources from Adventures in Wisdom to reach out to people I knew, like at my gym and the neighbors and in my neighborhood Facebook group and that sort of thing, to share what I was doing and then give people resources to share with their network, people who had children. That's how I grew my business. About 95% of my coaching practice is now referrals. And I coach anywhere between 1 to 5 kids in a week. It really depends on the time of year. And because I work for Adventures in Wisdom, that's my main role. For me, coaching kids is very much a part-time thing, but it's a very consistent part-time practice that I do. And I really love it because it's life-changing for the kids, but it also is life-changing for me. And it keeps me in the conversation of personal development and skills and reminding me how my mind works. And I've absolutely loved it. So that's a bit of background about me. I just wanted to let you know that context. And then that's it. So I would love to open up the floor. If anyone has any immediate questions here live, just please raise your hand. We can ask those. Otherwise, I've got a slew of questions that have been sent in as well. And I'm not sure who sent those in. So, okay, let's see. And I will call on people and I will also look at the chat as well. If you don't want to ask a question directly, you can put it in the chat. All right, so Marla, you kind of put your hand up, I think. Would you have a question? We just need to unmute Marla, please. Oh, not there. We still don't hear you yet. Hold on. Oh, yes. There you go, Marla.
Okay, and I can't see you right now, so I'm not sure if I did something wrong there.
Oh, okay.
Just see. Okay. Well, oh, there you are. Okay. Um, well, I enjoyed your story, and just so are all of the classes basically like a 5 lesson, or did you say 5 week?
Oh, that's a great question, Marla. No, they're not. So what happens is the Adventures in Wisdom curriculum has 27 mindset skills in it, and they're broken up into five key areas of social emotional development. So there are about five skills in the mind power. So mind power is the first one that is all about how the mind works. And it's a really important set of skills because when kids learn how their mind works, then they understand why the skills work. So it's teaching them things like about limiting beliefs and supportive beliefs and the connection between grungy, yucky feelings and your thoughts
Mhm.
and
Right.
that sort of thing. So it's really, really powerful. So that's like the first one. They learn about the comfort zone. They learn about neural pathways, as I just mentioned. They learn about the reticular activating system, which is the part of the brain that looks for evidence that our beliefs are true and it helps make our
Mhm.
goals come true. And then they learn about power shifting, which
Mhm.
is, like reframing. So that's kind of the first core area. And then we also have areas in the curriculum around so inner power, which is responsibility, integrity, respect, self-respect, that sort of thing. Then there's an area on me power, which is confidence and self-esteem. Then there's a whole 5 or 6 skills in dream power, which is making your dreams come true and the brain science of success. And then slaying dragons is the last section of the curriculum, which is all about things like dealing with the tough stuff in life. It's mistakes, moving past failure, managing change, that sort of, so it's all kinds of stuff. So there's 27 skills. And then when it comes to what you're teaching a child, I mentioned that I did a Confident Kids program for this little girl. So there are two ways that you can deliver coaching, well, multiple ways to deliver coaching to children. I'm talking one-on-one right now. The first one is we actually train coaches when it comes to working with kids to position or package up your program as like a package or around a transformation that parents want. So we actually have something called coaching package templates that we give our coaches, one for confidence, one for self-esteem, one for resilience, one for peer pressure, one for achieving goals, and then there's back to school as well. So we've got a lot of coaching package that already pre-packages a subset of the curriculum, anywhere from 5 to 9 skills. And it
Okay.
always includes a few from the mind power, which is how the mind
Okay.
works, as those are essential. Like
Mhm.
my experience has been that if I don't include those skills, it just changes the way a child uses the other skills. So it's
Mhm.
really important to teach those basic things about how the mind works. So in a coaching package, you will usually include a few of the mind power skills. And then whatever the challenges the child has. So if they're doing a confident kids, for example, there's going to be self-talk in there. There's going to be the confidence skills going to be in there. Managing fear is in that one, for example. So that's one thing you can do is you can just get started by presenting a package and then the subset of skills are in there. It's done for you and boom, that's what you do. Now, in another situation, or the way that I usually work with kids is so when it comes to the packages, you might promote, like you might do a promotion saying, hey, I've got a Confident Kids program. So people might come in for that. And so that's why you might just go bang straight into Confident Kids. But the way that I work with kids primarily now is that I'll have a parent reach out to me. They'll have some kind of challenge with their child. And I will have what's called a discovery call with the parent, where we just find out what's been going on, what's the impact on the child, what's the impact on the parent, what have they tried so far, what's worked, what's not worked, and that sort of thing. So I'm a little distracted because someone is requesting multiple presenters to share. I'm not sure why multiple presenters. I'm just going to decline that for now. Anyway, so after that discovery call, I'll put together a custom package for that parent. It'll include things like a few of the mind power skills and then whatever is needing to be addressed. And then I will propose that in a proposal for the parent with a price around it. And then they will decide if they want to invest or not. and go forward. Now, about 95% of the parents I talk to do invest in coaching because that discovery call that I have is very much around seeing if there's a fit, talking about how coaching works, what a session is, what it's like, why
Mhm.
it works, maybe sharing an experience I've had with a child who's been in a similar situation. And most parents, by the time they're on a call with me, they are pretty much know
Mhm.
that they want a
Yeah.
solution. And
Right.
especially the ones who come in through referrals. So then it's just a matter of, do they fit in the schedule? And then
Right.
the investment as well, and then just going forward. So does that answer your question about is it always just
Yeah.
five? Because it's not. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
no, no, that's really good. And then I had a question. So I'm not quite sure how to say this, but like how do you like what is your title? Because I mean, obviously you're a teacher, you're a coach, but there's some of these that are kind of bordering on therapy a little bit. Like how do you draw the line between the two, between a teacher and a therapist?
Oh, yeah. So I always
Mhm.
only call myself a wisdom coach or a
Okay.
mindset coach for kids. The reason for
Mindset. Okay.
that is that's what I'm certified as. So I'm certified to use the Adventures in Wisdom Life Coaching for Kids curriculum to teach these mindset skills to kids. I definitely don't ever position myself as a therapist. And I don't
Yeah.
position myself as a teacher either because I'm not a teacher. I will say I teach mindset skills because I do.
Right.
But I'm a wisdom coach, a certified wisdom coach. Or if I think someone doesn't know what wisdom coaching is, I'll say I'm a mindset coach for kids. And I
Mhm.
always use
I
the word
like
teacher
it.
as well. Yeah, it's really important. And the thing
Yeah.
is, it's very powerful
Hmm.
differentiation because
Hmm.
wisdom coaching is about teaching the mindset and the skill set for kids to be
Right.
confident, happy, resilient, and prepared to thrive in life. So, what we're doing is we're providing practical skills that kids learn using a proven story-based curriculum. With therapy, a lot of times what's happening, and Renee in some of the videos does this whole thing talking about the mental health continuum for kids and where therapy sits and where coaching sits. We're very much about proactively developing strong mental fitness and mental
Hmm.
health for kids. That's the space. It's not about examining, what's going on,
Right.
from a therapist perspective. Yeah, I don't want to go
So we're
into that
not
too much.
diagnosing or anything like that. We're just
100%
teaching these
no
practical set of
diagnosis.
skills, right? Okay.
No, no. And I make
Yeah.
that really clear when I'm talking with parents. And
Mhm.
what's interesting is often the kids that I've worked with, some of them, not often, some of them have gone to therapy and then they've done coaching. They've said what they love about coaching is it's these practical skills the kids use, like self-talk,
Yeah.
paying attention
Yeah.
to your self-talk and creating a mirror
Yeah.
mantra that's a positive statement they can
Yeah.
say over and over again, is really effective.
Yeah. It feels like
So,
you can actually do something, right? Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Did you have
How
any
long is
other?
the
Yeah,
how long
I
is
mean,
the
since we're
coaching?
talking,
How long is the certification?
how long is the certification? That's a really good question. So the certification is you go through it as quickly or as slowly as you want because it's something that's on it's you do it in your own home on your own time at your
Oh,
own
okay.
pace, right? So what you do is as soon as you say yes and you sign up to enroll to get certified, you get access to the entire curriculum and it's delivered via electronic, so PDF and their audio as well. And what it is most of your time is spent with the stories themselves. So you go through the 27 skills. For each one, there's a
Mhm.
mentor's guide that goes through the background and has like coaching information for you. And then there's the children's guide that's got the actual stories in it. So you read through that entire curriculum. So this is what we recommend you do. Read through the entire curriculum, then request your test. Now the test is open book, so it means you can use your notes. And it's really designed to be a confidence builder. Is it Marla or Maria? Hold on. Marla. Marla. Yeah,
Yeah.
Marla, it's really designed to be a confidence builder because what you're doing is you'll be answering questions that's from the curriculum, but also you'll have scenarios for different situations with kids. What skills might you teach and that sort of thing. But once you go through the curriculum, everything there's going to help guide you on your certification test. Some people, we say allow, the 27 skill books, so you can allow at least an hour for each skill book to go through. So do that, request a test, and then go. We've had people get certified within a week because they've loved it so much and they've gone through things and they've gotten the test and boom, they've gone. Other people, it takes longer because life gets in the way. It's really up to you, how long it takes. Does that answer your question? Okay, good. All right. Did you have any other questions?
I do, but I don't want to be,
No,
somebody
keep
else wants
going.
to
No
ask
one else
something.
has raised their hand. I've got my whole list over here, but let's
Okay,
just get yours
awesome.
answered.
Those are great. So that's really helpful. Okay, so if you get a student and then you have your curriculum, how does the student get their curriculum in front of them? Is it a hard copy that are mailed to them, or do they just get it online?
Okay, so well, two things. First of all, um, I usually coach one-on-one. I'm going to talk about that
Hmm.
first, in person. So that's what my preferred is. I have coached online a lot. My preference is one-on-one in person. So they come into me, and there are resources that we give to kids, and then there are resources that we don't give to kids. So when it comes to
Right.
like the stories and things like that, that's for me to use. I read to the kids.
Hmm.
Or every now and then I'll have a child who wants to read themselves. And so I'll let them read from the
Yeah.
curriculum, from the story. So that's that. When I'm working with kids online, again, I read to them, but I don't give them the curriculum. What I do give them is at the end of the session, they get a couple of different things. They get a wisdom from home sheet, which summarizes what they've learned that day, and I take the parent through it so that they can continue the conversation at home. They also get the activity that they've done. So the way the story coaching process works is that when I'm with a kid, I kind of introduce the skill that we're going to do. First of all, we check in and we see, what's been happening with them and that sort of thing. And then if it's the second or third session, we just do a quick review of the last skill that they did. And I find they always remember it. We have a little resource called the Whys and Fives. It takes about 5 minutes where we just check in what they've learned from last time. So we do the
Okay.
Whys and Five, do our little check in, and then introduce the skill for the day. It always starts with a story. So we read the story, and then we've got child-friendly discussion questions to help ensure that they understand the story. Because the story is what teaches them about the skill. The talking helps them understand the skill. And then we do an activity, and the activity helps them experience the skill. So they usually have done an activity, so that's part of their take home that they get from the experience as well. And then I usually give them a little memory marker as well, just a little card that summarizes the skill with a little item that helps them remember, like for um, stretching outside your comfort zone. I have a couple little notes about the comfort zone, a little rubber band to remind them about stretching outside the comfort zone. That's
Okay.
just something I put together that I give them as well. So,
So,
yes,
so for those things then, so then if they're going to get like the little, what do you call it, like the little summary sheet and then these cards and
yeah,
stuff, like if you're teaching it online, how do you give those to them? How
yeah.
do they physically get those things?
That's a good question, and it depends. And different coaches do this in different ways as well. So I like to give physical things because kids love to open
Me
envelopes and
too.
things like that. So what I will
Yeah.
usually do is if I'm working with a child online, and I know what the program is I will usually print out some of those things, put them in envelopes, and then
Yeah.
anything they need for the activities, I put those in envelopes and I send that as a package. And then I have like session one, session two, session three written
Yeah.
on them so they then get to open things during the sessions. And then the
Yeah.
cost of doing that and that time is put in the overall investment as well for the online coaching. Now, not all coaches do that. Some coaches, instead of packaging things up, especially for international clients, what they do is they make sure that the parent knows beforehand what the child needs for the session, like maybe coloring markers and paper or that sort of thing. And they will tell the parent beforehand, they'll give them a list of things that they need to get, much like when a child goes to school and they get their little supplies list. So if you're doing online coaching and you don't want to mess with doing things like that yourself, like putting all the packages together, you can just send a note to the parent beforehand saying, these are the supplies you're going to need. Please make sure little Johnny has these things for today's session. And then just sharing screens. And then some of the activities, I'll, share my screen with a child. But yeah, and it works great with online coaching. It's just as effective as in person. And that's been one of the
Yeah.
things that's been amazing to see. I started in 2021. So a lot of our coaches, they had to go online with COVID. And so that's when we really started seeing our coaches grow that area of online coaching space because they really had to be able to help support kids at a time when they needed it more than anything. And we've got training on how to create engaging online coaching sessions as well, and tips and things like that. We also have a Facebook group, a private Facebook group for our wisdom coaches, where our wisdom coaches can come in and ask questions and get ideas. So that's one of the places where I'm in there, Renee's in there, other wisdom coaches are in there to help provide ideas and things for online coaching, offline coaching groups, you name it. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. What are the ages you find typical?
The typical ages, so the curriculum was designed especially for 6 to 12 years old. That was really what it was designed for. I tend to work with kids kind of 8 to 11, because what happens is so much of my business is referral based that I start working with, one
Yeah,
or two kids and then their
more
friends
certain
start
group of,
coming. Then
yeah.
siblings. So sometimes I go younger, sometimes I go older. I've worked with
Mhm.
teens, I've worked with adults with this curriculum as
Mhm.
well. I really enjoy working with adults. So it's a real mix, but me personally, I tend to work with that kind of second to sixth grade area are the main ages that I work with. And I really like working with that age as well. But you're able to use the curriculum. The curriculum is really flexible because even though I talk about how we guide you step by step and there's a story coaching process, a lot of our coaches bring in other things to their work, the other passions and loves that
Yeah.
they have. It might be yoga or art or
Mhm.
dance or music. I do straight wisdom coaching. I use the curriculum, I go through it. I don't have those other things that I want to bring in with kids. I'm not a crafty person, arts and craft person either. So thank God for other wisdom coaches because they have all these other ideas and their ideas in the curriculum as well. But yeah, so
Okay, nice. You said there's like some wisdom Facebook groups where people get together and share ideas and stuff like that. And I was surprised to hear you say it's even worldwide, like about how many coaches are there in the
yeah, there are
Facebook
hundreds.
group or
Yeah, we've got
oh,
hundreds of coaches
interesting.
from 30, more than 30 countries around the world. Yeah, so
Oh,
I'm actually in Australia. So I've got an American accent, but I actually live in Australia. And
okay. That's
yeah,
funny. I
so
was looking
it's
at your room and trying to think. I was like, maybe she's in Florida.
and it's 7:30 in the morning here. So I've got morning sun. It's really nice.
Okay,
Yeah, so we have
nice.
coaches around the world, and that's what's really neat. It's just
Oh,
a community of people who love personal development work, love working with children, want to make a difference
oh,
in this
very
world.
nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, is it always English speaking countries, or do you sometimes work with students from non-English speaking countries?
Definitely English speaking. The curriculum is English speaking. That being said, we do have coaches who, one of our coaches, she's been a coach for 10 years. One of the things she does is she teaches English as
Mhm.
her one of her jobs, and then she does wisdom coaching as well. So she teaches all of
Right,
that in English, but then she's also talking with kids in native languages as well. But we do have
right.
everything in English right now. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's kind of my former life, but I know there's a lot of people who their English is actually pretty good,
yeah,
but it is a second language, and it seems like I can. Okay.
yeah.
So, and then I had questions about marketing. Like, do you guys help with marketing or train on marketing and stuff like that?
Yes, we do a lot of training around how to get your clients and grow a sustainable business. We have an extensive training called the Business Accelerator curriculum, which is
Mhm.
custom designed training around how to get your first clients and all of these aspects of marketing. So, for example, if someone's never had a business before, how do you even, get started? How do you build confidence in yourself before you get started? Then messaging, how do you talk about your services in a way that helps people understand the value of life coaching for kids? Because, your messaging if you're not confident talking about what your services are, you're never going to be able to sell your services because you won't open your mouth when you have the opportunity to talk to somebody. We have
Right.
training on how to price your services, both from a mindset perspective and really standing in the value of what you deliver. So you feel confident talking about pricing, and then an actual model for discussing pricing and how to package your services and lots of training around that. We've got training on sales, like how do you have that sales conversation, the mindset around sales, so that if you're feeling nervous and anxious and you don't want to feel salesy, all about how to let that go, because it's really just about exploring whether there's a fit. And for me, I love having the so-called sales conversations because I want
Yeah.
to help parents who want help,
We're just
right?
trying to provide a good service. So
Yeah, that's
it's
right. And so
not
that's
trying
the
to push
sales,
something
and
on
then
them they don't want.
yeah, and then the process for sales, and then we've got a lot of so many resources around as well. We've got co-branded collateral that you can use. We've got plug and play messaging you can use. The number of resources are great. And then I mentioned that coaching's a know, like, and trust business. And so
Yeah.
it's leveraging your personal network is the most important thing you can do, because that's what I did. So we have email templates for and text, like I've personally shared my personal texts that I sent to my network.
Mhm.
I've shared that
Right.
in our membership site for other coaches. This is exactly the text that I sent to people saying, "Hey, I'm doing this coaching, wanted to let you know, and would you be open to sharing with the
Right.
people you know?" And then gave them messaging to be able to share. So we share all that stuff because a
Right.
lot of coaches don't have a business background. Some might be teachers, so they've never really had to talk about their services before because they've got a
Yeah.
classroom of kids that are with them all the time. And so
Right.
that's why we have so much training in this area, to make sure that our coaches feel really confident that yes, I can not only coach kids effectively with the curriculum and the resources, but I can also find kids to coach. And that's why the business is so important and the marketing information is so important. Yeah, and then we also have Q&A calls once a month that are live that coaches can come in and ask questions. So there's so much support in there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think the area that I feel the weakest in is technology. You know, it's
Okay.
like,
Well, do you want to
and
tell me
I,
more about that? Like what about the technology is
well, like
reaching?
it's like you're saying, like, oh, I send out these mass text messages. Like, I'm like, I could probably think of what to write in a text message, but how to send out a mass text
Oh, I
and who
didn't
to
send
send
out
it
a mass
to,
text
I
at
would
all.
have
I'm
no
glad you
idea.
said that. Marla, they're one-on-one texts. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
never,
Okay.
because it's a personal, no,
Well,
like, and
yeah.
trust business. I want to
Yes.
say, hey, it was so great seeing you at gym class. Like one of my messages was for the example, and the thing is, I saw someone in gym class, and it was great to catch up in gym class. She's a speech pathologist for
Mm,
kids. So, I mentioned that. I was like, I wanted to let you know what I'm
mm.
doing. I thought it would be interesting. Do you mind?
Oh, right.
You'd be open to sharing. So yeah, you make very personal one-on-one. You'd send a one. That's me. Like, I don't want to do mass emails. But you can also do posts. Like, I live on a street with 100 households, and we have a street WhatsApp group. So I put a message in there, and I've
Oh,
coached
that's
four
great.
kids on our street.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. It's very
Yeah.
community, and so lots of people on
Yeah.
the street know me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I didn't
WhatsApp is
know
a
any
good
of the
one.
people whose kids I coached. Because
Yeah.
they saw me on the WhatsApp, and then they talked to other yeah.
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 So when it comes to technology, like, you don't really have to use technology.
Okay.
You already text people, right? You probably already email people. That's really all you
Definitely. I do that. And
yeah, that's really
you just go on Zoom, right? You just do the teaching on Zoom
well, when I
for
do
the
online
students.
coaching, I use Zoom, but I'm
Yeah.
in person most of the time. Oh, but my
Mm.
discovery sessions, I usually like to do those on Zoom because I like
Oh,
to see
okay.
the parent, right? So I like to have a
Yeah.
Zoom for that. But some I've talked to on the phone. So technology doesn't need to
Okay.
be a barrier at all for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of your coaching you said you do in person, so that's interesting. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
do it in your home or do you go to their home or do you have an office or?
Yeah, I've done both. I usually do it in my home. I've got a little area in the back of
Yeah.
the garden, a little cabana that
Hmm.
that's where I have my materials and stuff.
Right.
For some kids, I go to their home, especially,
Hmm.
if there's a mom who's juggling other, like, young babies and stuff, and traveling's
Right.
hard. But if I do travel, I usually build in a little fee for travel time as well, if there's a long
Yeah.
distance, because what that
Mhm.
means is instead of coaching two kids back to back, you've got that travel time.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
this is your business. It's up to you. You do whatever
Right.
you want and whatever works for
Right.
you. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah, you're
That's
getting your
very
own
helpful.
Q&A session. It's great. I don't know what happens at.
No, this is awesome.
And Michelle, if you've got any questions, put them. And I see, oh, Michelle does have a question. Okay, hold on one sec. But we'll keep asking yours, Marla. She wants to know, do coaches receive ready-to-use session plans, activity stories, and worksheets? So yes, you do. So what happens is when you get the mentor's guide and the children's guide for a skill. So I think I mentioned that there are 27 skills. Each one has a skill book. So there's the mentor's guide. So that's got the background information. It's got kind of the objective of the session. It even has a little breakout of how much time to allow for the story part and the talking part and all that sort of stuff. But then also it's got the questions that you can ask in there and the story itself, the activity. And then we do provide the wisdom for home sheets as well. So yes, all of that is provided. And then she wants to know, oh, this is a good question. How do you involve parents in the coaching process, especially when coaching, school age children? So in engaging the parent is an important part of the process. What we do is in the story coaching process, we train coaches that you share the story and then you do the discussion and you do the activity. But then at the end of the session, the last 10 minutes, I always allow for a time for the parents to come in and we have a conversation about what was learned. And usually I find the kids are really excited and they want to be the ones to share the information and show their little project that they've done and that sort of thing. And then the parent can continue the conversation at home. I also always send coaching notes to the parent after the session. I started doing coaching notes to help me remember everything that the child, any insights I gained about the child. And I found it's really useful to send that to the parent. I usually dictate those notes. So it's really quick for me to dictate those notes. And then I'm able to edit them into a nice little Word document. I send it as an email. Some of our coaches will do voice messages for parents, just talking about the session so the parent knows what was happening. And then I always like to do a check-in with parents about halfway through the coaching package to see what they're observing, to answer any questions that they have. And then I build that into the package price as well to make sure that I'm covering those. But I do like to involve the parents that way. Every now and then, I invite parents to sit in on a coaching session. So, for example, there are some skills that it's really helpful for the family to be involved in or for the parent to know about, like neural pathways. If the parent's available, I like them to learn about neural pathways as well, because what kids are learning is they're learning that every time you do something, you are building a pathway in your mind, and that helps you build confidence. But we teach ways for kids to build confidence in neural pathways before they've ever done something. So if there's a child who's got a lot of anxiety, for example, especially anxious about doing something new, it's helpful for the parents to know about the three different ways to build neural pathways before doing something new so they can help make sure the child does that before they do something new. So that's an example of one skill. But I rarely have parents in coaching sessions like for all the sessions, because children share differently when a parent's there. Like if a parent's there, they'll kind of look off to the side and make sure that what they're saying is okay. They're not as focused on themselves and their thoughts. Some kids. And I found all these things out by kind of the hard way by doing it. Like my very first client that I coached, the mother was right there the whole time. And I watched this little girl just looking at her mother the whole time. I was like, oh, okay. And so immediately after that, I went to the Facebook group and I was like, okay, this is what my experience. What do you all think? And other coaches saying, yeah, the child's going to interact with you differently if the parent's right there or not. And so I just had a conversation with the parent and said, hey, this is what we're experiencing and advised. And would you be open to being in another room where she doesn't see you? And she was absolutely fine with that. And And then this little girl opened up, and it was much, much, much more helpful. So, yeah. But if a parent wants to be in the room, then sure. Some parents, they've never learned these skills and they're so curious and fascinated that they want to learn too. And so every child, every parent is different, but you've got your foundation of the curriculum, the story coaching process that you work with, and then you just decide how you change. All right. Um, Marla, do you have any more questions? Oh, you're muted again. We'll get you unmuted. It's not yet. Anne, are you able to unmute Marla, or can I do that? Ask to unmute. Right.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
having it.
clicking ask to unmute, but
I think, oh, there you go,
Can you hear me
Marla.
now? Oh, that's
yeah.
Yes.
funny. It gave me the option.
Yeah, that's
It's so
weird, isn't
funny.
it? Okay.
I was afraid
Right.
to touch it.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
okay.
You've made a lot of good comments about, oh, and then make sure you charge for that, make sure you charge for that, and that
Yeah.
makes sense. Do you guys have like pricing calculators and kind of thing? Like, or do you just kind of do it on your own, or do you guys have little things like, hey, make sure you take into account prep time and that time and that time and
Yes. So, first of all, one of the things that I've done that we have in our membership site is I've provided my exact, like I've done a training on how I do my proposals, how I price. You see the actual verbiage, you can copy and use it and everything to help you. And this is all by learning, right? I learned all of this by doing, we do have training in it, in the business accelerator, etc. Oh, it looks like someone needs to be admitted, Anne. Yeah. Anyway, so we do have training all on this, but what we do is we've got this full training on how to package and price your services. And we do talk about presenting your coaching as a package. So, for example, we're going to do the confidence package. It's going to have 6 sessions. We're going to start with an intake process. Hi, Sharon. I'm Karen Robertson. I'm a certified wisdom coach and senior
Hi.
director of coach success as well. So I'm just answering a question about, you know, how do you package and price your services? So that's what I'm doing now. So let's say we always recommend that you don't just say, I'm going to do 6 coaching sessions with Johnny, because that doesn't really tell the value of what it is that you're going to be delivering for this child. So you might say, okay, the focus is going to be on confidence. I've got a 6 session confidence package for Johnny. It's going to cover 6 different sessions. The first one, we're going to do an intake process where we're going to play a Wheel of Life game, and we're going to get some insights from Johnny on how he's feeling about some key areas of his life, like school and sibling relationships and friendships and things like that. And then we're going to teach him these other 5 skills, and I've chosen these skills because, and that sort of thing. So that's kind of how you package it. I want to do a parent check-in session with you halfway through, and etc. And then what you do is you package that up as a set price. Now, that being said, we have polled our coaches from around the world. We've got about 70 data points on how much coaches are charging, and it is easiest for us to talk about wisdom coaches talking about a per session pricing. So, our coaches will charge anywhere from $55 to $195 per session. Like that's how it breaks out. How much they charge depends on the market that they're in. Some markets you can charge a lot more than others. The number of coaching sessions, their confidence level, like all of these things are variety that we have. We have extensive training on all of this. But the way that I package is that I generally average about anywhere from about $125 to $175 a session. But that covers the 6 sessions, the follow-up notes that I do, the parent session. So it might total up to like $12.97. So here's a confidence package. It's going to have 6 sessions. We're going to cover this, this, and this. The transformation, or I never use the word transformation actually, but the results we're trying to get to are blah, blah, blah. And the investment for that is like $12.97 or something like that. So that's the way that I do that. So does that answer your question? Yeah.
Mhm.
It's really,
Thank you.
really about communicating the value of what you're doing and that coaching package language around benefit and value. And we give you the materials. Like I said, in the training are my exact proposals. Like you can go in and use that language and change it up to customize it for someone. And I talk about often I will do like promotional pricing. So I'll say, this is the usual pricing, but for term three, I've got this particular promotion where you get the parent thing for free, or you can have this much of a discount or something like that. So I hope that answers your question.
That was
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, Sharon, what we're doing, I hope I'm saying your name right. Is it Sharon or Sharon? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm answering live questions. I've also got questions that were sent in. I've got questions in the chat that I'm going through as well. So that's what I'm doing here. Do you have any burning questions that you have?
Not now. I'm listening.
Okay, great. And we've been going for about 40 minutes, or 45 minutes. So this is being recorded and we'll be sending out all of everything. And Michelle says, sorry, she's got kids over, so she's not on camera. So that's okay, Michelle. No worries at all. All right, so the next question. Oh, Marla, do you have another question?
No, I'm
Okay.
no burning ones right now.
Okay, no worries. So someone just asked, for someone who already has extensive professional experience working with children, I'm a teacher, but I'm new to life coaching. What would you recommend me focusing on during the training? That's a really good question. So as I mentioned, we do have a lot of coaches who have a teaching background, so they haven't run a business before. So the key things that you will be focusing on the certification is all about the curriculum and getting really comfortable with not even getting really comfortable with the curriculum. I want to actually give you some insights here on the curriculum. Because the curriculum is 27 different skills, what's going to happen, and as I mentioned before, and I did quite a long answer on this before, Sharon, just so you know, is you get certified on the curriculum. So as an educator by trade, you already have a lot of skills around working with kids. So what you'll be doing during the certification is focusing on the curriculum and getting familiar with what we're teaching, how we teach it, what that process is like, etc. And then when you do your test, you are going to be tested on all of the curriculum, plus different scenarios. But as I said before, it's open book, so you can reference your materials and everything. But then once you get certified, what happens is two things. One is that's once you get certified, that's when you get access to all the business training and that sort of thing. So your certification is not on the business training side of things, it's on the curriculum side of things. That's when you get your certification. As soon as you're certified, you can start coaching kids. That can happen. And then you get the business training. So if you already know about business or you already have a bunch of kids that you can work with and you don't need to do business training, boom, you get started right away. But here's the thing as well, is that you're not expected to be perfect in all 27 skills when you get started. What we do is we encourage, and by the way, I say we because I am on the Adventures in Wisdom team. So I'm saying we for that, but then I say I when it's my own personal business. So my own personal coaching business. But when it comes to getting started, we at Adventures of Wisdom train our coaches and recommend that you choose one coaching package to focus on first. That's like 5 to 7 skill books. Focus on those skills. Those are the ones you'll get to know. You don't have to remember all 27 skills, right? You just focus on those first 5 to 7. You deliver that package. Maybe you do it 1 or 2 times. Then maybe you bring other skills in. And what I did when I got started, because I had been certified and then I had a neighbor who wanted to do the Confident Kids program. I call it like just in time preparation. I knew what the 7 skills were, or 5. For her, I was doing 5 skills to start with. And so I just prepared the first skill. I made sure it was all ready. And then I had a few days because we were doing an intensive program. I had a few days to prepare for the next one. So I just focused on delivering what I needed. And then I prepared the next one and I delivered what I needed. And then I prepared the next one and I delivered what I needed. Now that I've coached, so many kids, I know like which skills to use and how to prepare them. And it's all very, very fast. But in the beginning, it was slower. So I would go on the Facebook group and I'd say, okay, I've got this session coming up. This is how I'm thinking about preparing. Does anyone have any tips? And you know, that sort of thing. So I hope that answers that question. Okay. And then there's another one. Oh, this is a good question too. Thank you, Michelle. All right. She said, what does it take to be successful if you've never had a business? And this is a really good question as well. Being successful in business, it's really about two things. It's mindset and skill set both. And that's why there's so much training from Adventures in Wisdom in this space. So the skill set are things like, what do you need to do to start a business, to market a business, to find kids to coach? So we offer a lot of training and skills around all of that stuff. But with each of those, we also have the mindset around it. As I mentioned before, the mindset around pricing, the mindset around selling, all that's really important so that you feel really confident about going out there. Also, Renee talks about this all the time, is it's really important that you put time on your calendar to build your business, to get certified, that sort of thing, because what's in your calendar, if you hold to it, then you will actually get things done. And of course, to take action is really, really important. It's also important to track your progress as you go. Those things will help you be successful. All of that is in the training that we've got. But, the one thing is to know that we've got hundreds and hundreds of coaches we've certified. Many, many of them are people who've never had a business before and they've done it. One of our expert coaches, Rahima, she was an educator and she was a full-time educator. She wanted to teach confidence skills. She moved country. She became a part-time educator because she wasn't allowed to work full-time. And then she added wisdom coaching to what she was doing. Now she's got a full-time wisdom coaching practice with a waiting list. She's just done so well for herself. She's transformed her family's finances, and it's just been one step at a time. She'd never run a business before. And so we just, using the resources, using the help, she's built a full-time business. And now she's out there with our coaches, helping our coaches with their success as well. So it's really up to you what you want to create. The resources are there, the support's there. It's just up to you. So that's that. Okay, does anyone else have any more questions? Okay, I'm actually going to look at the list that were sent in because I haven't even done that one yet. But I think what's happened is we're covering a lot of these. So bear with me as I look at the list of the questions that were sent in before. Oh, this is a good one. How long is a coaching session? A typical coaching session is usually about an hour long, usually about 50 minutes working with the child and then 10 minutes working with the parent. If I'm working with a younger child or online, I might shorten it a little bit, but otherwise it's an hour that I allow for. And um, I've always found that I rarely go over. I also rarely go under. I like to allow enough time to have that engagement with the child, for them to ask questions along the way. Of course, they love doing the activity. So that's what I do. Also, Sharon, you weren't here for this part, but I like to primarily work with kids one-on-one and in person, or I also work with kids one-on-one and online. I've done a lot of groups as well, and those are fun, but it's more like, for me, working with groups is more like training. Unless you're doing small groups for a program like a confidence program with 3 to 5 kids, then that you can really see the transformation and the conversations that kids see. Workshops tend to be like one to many, like 1 to like 30 kids. Then it's more like a training. You're teaching a skill, but you're not really exploring a child's limiting beliefs and helping them personally. And that's what I love doing most, is that one-on-one transformation. So that's what we were talking about then. So it's always an hour. I like to give them something a little squishy to squeeze and play with. Some of the kids I work with have ADHD, so we'll get up, we'll walk around, we might change areas, we might go sit on and swing to, when we're working together. It's flexible. You do what you want to do with this curriculum and working with kids, and I'm always guided with by the child as well. So I might have a skill planned for the day. If a child comes in and they share something challenging that's going on, we might spend some time working on that. And I might even switch the skill that I have planned. That's because I have everything all planned, I'm a bit experienced and I can do that. In the beginning, that would have been harder for me to do. But what you always do is you meet the child with where they are. So let them talk about what it is that they want to talk about first. I find kids, they want to get straight to the story. They love the story. And so I rarely have a session hijacked. I call it hijacked. That's really not a good word. It's more like segue because they're usually really keen to do what it is that we're planning to do. But a couple of times I've worked with a child who's a bit older and they want to talk through things and we'll talk through something. And yeah, that's really neat. Okay, let's see. Oh, does anyone have a live question before I keep going through the pre? Okay, good. Let's see. How much of the session is based on the Adventures in Wisdom curriculum, and how much flexibility does the coach have to adapt it to the child? Yeah, so I find the curriculum does the teaching and the engagement and the work. So I use the curriculum. As I mentioned, coaches can bring in their own passions. You can bring in meditation. If you that's what you love, breath work, art, craft, music, sports, just different coaches use different things. I've interviewed coaches from around the world. They always use the story as the foundation. Each story has about 3 different scenarios for how that skill applies to the character's life. So if you find you want to shorten the story because maybe the child's a little bit younger or you don't have as much time, you might remove one of those scenarios as you're going through the story. It's pretty flexible. I often find that when I'm doing this story with the kids, I ask questions along the way. And that's to help engage the child. So what I will usually do is do story and question combined, and then we'll do a couple questions in the discussion after the story, but usually get straight into the activity. It's really up to you, and you'll find your feet. I mean, that's the neat thing is that when you're getting started, you can use everything like exactly through the story coaching process and step by step, etc. But then as you get comfortable and confident, you're going to find your style as well that you bring into it. All right, someone asked, after I'm certified, can I start coaching immediately, offering one-on-one coaching, workshops? Yes, you can get started as soon as you are certified. And then,
Hey, Karen.
Can I ask you how long does it gonna take to get certified?
oh, do you know what, Sharon? We just had a whole conversation about that in detail. I will tell
Okay.
you that certification is done on your own time, in your own home, at your own pace. We've had coaches get certified as quickly as a week because that's all they focused on and they were excited and wanted to get it done. We've had others take longer because life gets in the way. It's really up to you, but it's not like you're coming to weekly training classes and you get certified at the end of 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 3 months. It's not like that. It's on your time. You can get started as soon as you enroll because everything's delivered electronically to you. So that's that. Let me see if any other, yes, does that answer your question? But
Yes.
when you watch the recording, you'll see a lot more information about why and what's involved with the certification, what it covers and what it doesn't cover.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, look, we're at 7:59 for me.
So, Karen, can I?
Yes.
Michelle is off camera because she's got her kids, but she is listening. She was wondering, what is your favorite success story?
Oh. Okay. My favorite success story. The reason I go is I'll try not to cry because it was 3 years ago. I worked with a friend's daughter who is 7 years old. And at the time, she had so much anxiety that school drop off was just really difficult for them. She struggled to go to parties. She was stressed out going to, they were going to go on a family vacation. She was really freaked out about it. I mean, it was really, really stressful for the whole family. She couldn't even go to the bathroom by herself because she'd
Oh,
seen a
yeah.
spider in the toilet 3 years prior. For 3 years, she had to have an adult outside the bathroom or the stall where she was going to go to it. Like she had so much anxiety. And so I started working with her, and we did, and I did the skills in order for mind power, the first three. So teaching her about beliefs and how our mind works and neural pathways. The fourth session we did, though, I did self-talk. And during self-talk, we started practicing this bathroom situation. And came up with a plan on how she could go to the bathroom by herself. She did it then on that day, and she never looked back. And she was able from then on to, and it was just amazing, that so transformational. But it was so cool because we did 12 sessions total together over the course of about 4 or 5 months. And the next year, she was class captain, and she started singing and performing on stage. And then about 3 weeks ago, I went to see her on stage in Sydney doing a show that's very famous on Broadway and on the West End. She was the lead at 10 years of age. That little girl, I've got chills. She carried the whole show. She was so confident. And I was there with her mom and her dad and her grandmother, and we all were in tears. We just could not believe this little girl who could hardly go to school, drop off, couldn't go to parties, like had so much anxiety, was now doing what she was doing. And she just goes from strength to strength. And it's just, the wisdom coaching is life-changing for the kids, but it's also life-changing for the families. I mean, when the parents had to stand outside the bathroom for 3 years, like that was really tough, and sleeping issues too, like all kinds of stuff. And then to see their daughter blossom and to have hope that their daughter's going to be able to function. And it's life-changing for me too, because it keeps me in the conversation. It shows me what's possible. It's just amazing. I've helped so many kids with back to school confidence. That's been a really big one. The kids who are anxious about school, especially kids who are transitioning from one type of school to another. Here in Australia, kids go straight from elementary school to high school. So year 6 is elementary school, year 7 is high school. That's a big transition to go to. And so, helping kids with that transition or changing school is really big. It's just been amazing. But that's my favorite success story, Michelle. So thank you for asking that. It's been an amazing experience. In fact, we've got video or me of talking about that somewhere. So in our follow-up, I'll try to remember to send that with the recording so you can learn more about it. I changed her name. I call her Mary, but it's just amazing. I mean, to see her in that show, like every time I talk about it now, I get all teary. Yeah. All right. Well, it is the top of the hour. So does anyone else have any burning questions? Otherwise, we can go ahead and wrap up. Anyone? Oh, Marla. It looks like Marla does, but we can't hear you. So just one sec.
There. Okay.
Yes.
So you're going to send us a message with the link to this and all. And then like how do we enroll, or what are the prices and that kind of thing?
Right. So what we'll do in that email that we'll send, well, actually, Anne, do you have the link? We could drop it in the chat. So the link that Anne can drop in takes you to the Wisdom Coach certification page with the overview video. The overview video is the video that talks you through more in depth about the curriculum and the skills that you will help kids develop, and then also the business support and the training that I've only barely touched on. Also, the pricing options, because there are different investment levels depending on what type of support that you want. All of that's in the overview video. I think the overview video is about 50 minutes long in total. You're able to apply directly on that page as well. And then once you apply, you have a conversation with one of our success coaches who, you're working out to whether or not there's a fit, and you can ask all your questions. They also talk you through the plan of how you can get certified quickly, and on the business side, the launch plan for that as well. So that's kind of what the process is. And Anne, were you able to put that in the chat? Otherwise, we'll send it via email with the
Yeah, do you
recording.
see, does everybody see it?
I see it. I just don't want to click on it because then you guys are going to.
Okay, no,
No
we'll
worries.
send it immediately to you anyway. So you've got
Awesome.
that. Okay. Yes, but anyway, like I said in the very beginning, this was never my plan to become a wisdom coach. I came in a marketing role, it was when I talked to other wisdom coaches about their experiences with kids and how they felt and what it meant to them to help kids this way, that's when I got certified. And I can tell you it's life-changing. It's just unreal. Being able to help kids this way, to change the lives not only of the children, and they use this for life. Like because I've been doing this 3.5 years now, I still hear from parents and they're so grateful. Now I have some kids that they come back like every 6 to 8 months when there's new things, like that they're going to a new grade in school or whatnot, that we will do touch up. And then I do their siblings as they start getting older. And yeah, it's such a rewarding thing to help kids this way. And it's really up to you how you create this as a business. If you want it to be part-time, you can be part-time. If you want to work online only, you can do that. If you want to work with groups, you can do that. If you want to create a full-time practice, that's fully possible. So anyway, thank you for taking the time to be here, and we'll send you all those resources via email. Bye,
Well,
everybody.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mhm.